Hello, everybody. Welcome to Most Wanted Topics. I'm your host, Kevin Dennison. Along with me, per usual, is Atomic Tommy. How you doing?
Oh, yeah. I'm back. We're all back.
We are back. We are blowing the sound out here. We are here in beautiful Bloomington, Minnesota, here at our store, Most Wanted Comics in Bloomington, 9919 Lindale Avenue South. We're rocking it, boy.
If you haven't been to our store yet, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, get down here.
We're picking up some subscribers. We're picking up customers. I tell you what, we had a big signing. We just had former Viking to kick off training camp because this week training camp begins for the NFL. And, of course, our beloved Vikings are kicking it off. And we had former Viking linebacker Dontarius Thomas here signing autographs. The fans still loved him. I tell you what, class act all the way. Still happy to see the fans. And we were happy to see him. Yeah. A lot of people came out for the event, which was great. And we've been sold because, you know, we sell plenty of comic books. We sell toys. We sell action figures. But we also sell sports cards. And so that's why we did the kickoff for the NFL training camp, because we did our sports cards too. So people got to see that we sold some good sports cards. So all around, I say it was a successful event.
Yeah. Also, DT was great, but let's not forget we got the Honky Tonk Man on Saturday.
Saturday.
Back to back. We've given out the details. You can check out our website, mostwantedcomics.com, for all the details on that, or you can come on in the store and we can tell you. But also, on a quick side note, we should thank everybody for 100 subscribers. It's not a ton. It's not huge, but it's a milestone.
We removed the hand applause from our soundbar, so I can't do the coveted applause.
Yeah, I'll be trying to work that back in. But yeah, it was great.
But we are very, very happy. We want to thank all of you for subscribing. And if you haven't and you're seeing this, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe, and you're going to get great information about our store, what we carry, what we do, and we always have something going on. We are an active store in the community. We like to provide life experiences for the community, and it's a nostalgic place. We carry a lot of stuff that, whatever your fandom, we like to have some nostalgia in stock for you so you can come and remember the good times.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we do. So this Saturday, the Honky Tonk Man, the greatest Intercontinental Champion, will be here, and on top of that, we'll play his promo one more time here before we bring in the Mighty Mafu. But yeah, excellent time. Thank you to Dontarius Thomas. Thank you for the Vikings for sending us some cool promo pics.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you to everyone that showed up, and thanks for supporting our store.
Yeah, and again, thanks for 100 subscribers.
Thanks for hitting the mark.
It is one thing that, even if only 100 people watch our podcast, that's enough. We do it, mostly because we have a lot of fun doing it, but also because we have people now that enjoy watching it. And even if it's only 100, that's plenty for us. So
yeah, you know what? And of course we want more, and don't get me wrong, but we're happy. We're happy just that some people watch, because like I said, we do this for fun. We try to make the store fun. We welcome everybody in. It doesn't matter who you're. We want to have you in our store. It's a welcoming place. It's a fun place, and we have some fun products. There's plenty of crap out there in life to really bring you down, but you come in our store, there's plenty of things to bring you back up again. And remember that there's some fun stuff out there, and we're the store that provides that. So anyway, let's dive into it. Atomic Tommy, let's talk about some comics and some other fun things. Yeah. Why don't you lead the way with the conversation this week, and then we'll go from there.
So this past week, there are two books I want to talk about, Namor and Phoenix #1. There was a ton of great stuff that came out this week. Honorable mentions being, obviously, Powerpuff Girls. That was a lot of fun to read. Dark Knights of Steel, All Winter, was also a ton of fun. But really, I think the two big ones for me this week were Phoenix and Namor. Let's start with Namor, right? Namor is a character that personally I think is underused. And I think a lot of people think it's underused. Now, who's cooler, Namor or Aquaman?
It's Marvel's Aquaman.
I'm an Aquaman fan over a Namor fan, okay? I prefer Aquaman, but that is not to say that I don't like Namor. Again, I mentioned it last week. The Submariner was all the rage in the 1960s, man. That character was huge.
He was the end thing.
Yep, I mean, an invader, right? Let's not forget that he's been around in Marvel history for a long time, coveted member of the Marvel Illuminati, which was not, I don't think, adapted very well in Doctor Strange 2, but we don't have to talk about that.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
But yeah, Namor, and the book was written by Jason Aaron, which I don't think I mentioned last week, but it was written by Jason Aaron. He's getting around a lot these days.
Putting out bangers.
Yeah, putting out bangers. And it was a fun book. Dude, it's cool to see Namor do stuff again. And that's kind of a theme for this week as we move into Phoenix, which was also a lot of fun, man. It's Nova. Nova was there. It's a lot of fun to see Nova doing stuff again.
Yeah.
There are so many characters in Marvel that are just underused and not used enough. Nova is one of them, and it was so much fun.
Now, do you think, I think
again.
that Phoenix was better than X-Men 1?
That's definitely, I think, I don't think that's too far out there. I don't think that's too hot of a take. I did really like Phoenix.
It's not a hot take, but I just, I thought it was, because a lot of people, but I do think that Phoenix won, because
this book,
last week we had to kind of defend X-Men 1.
Yeah, we did definitely last week.
And I think you got to give it a few, but I think Phoenix out of the gate got a fast start.
I think it did. Phoenix, what I really liked about it, and I think you can agree, is how powerful they showed Phoenix in this book. I mean, Phoenix has always been super powerful, but it feels like in this book, this number 1, I mean, they really dialed it up. I mean, she, revives a dying star. She stabilizes a black hole. It's just kind of insane.
I think we can take credit for that, Tommy.
I think, can we?
Do you know why?
Why?
Because in our brackets last March, they slept on Daybreak.
They did. They did sleep
and
on
Daybreak was more powerful than a lot of people anticipated. So Marvel said, "Who the hell is Daybreak?" Well, hey, New Pain Production. Here's shout out to Keith and all the people at New Pain Productions. Make sure we support them.
They had to step it up with Phoenix, I guess.
Marvel said, "Oh my gosh, Daybreak's going to compete with Marvel," and I think that's why they made Phoenix more powerful.
I think
So Most Wanted Comics had a a hand in Marvel stepping up their game.
Marvel, I want my 20%. Come on now.
Yeah, New Pain Production. Shout out to you.
Yep.
Another new.
Take a look this week. Also, the next New Pain campaign launches this week. The Jump number 2, as well as the official handbook of the New Pain universe, launches this week. So follow their socials, take a look, watch out for that coming up.
New Pain Productions. Go to their social media and make sure you jump on their campaign.
Absolutely.
There's a shout out to Keith.
We're gonna be plugging that quite a bit. We're fans of them. We want to support them, so we're gonna be plugging that quite a bit as their campaign goes. But anyway,
all right. Sorry to jump aside, bright shining object, but I still say Phoenix is a part of credit.
Yeah, it was kind of insane how powerful Phoenix was in this book, and again, it's always kind of been that way, but just to really see it at the forefront was a lot of fun. Other than that, I don't really want to spoil much of the story. There are some cool characters that kind of pop up at the end, too.
But we do recommend you read it.
But we do recommend that you read it. So, now let's jump to this week. What is coming up this week? Boy, do we have some fun stuff yet again. Coming out of Marvel here. Another X-Men title, NYX number 1. We're going back to back here. NYX number 1, featuring Kamala Khan. Ms. Marvel, I think, is sort of the leader of this sort of team, as Ms. Marvel is obviously a mutant now in Marvel, which is another thing we don't have to talk about.
I don't like it.
You don't like? No, I honestly don't like it either. She was Inhuman from the start.
Yep.
And I think they should have left it that way.
Yep.
They only did it to match the movies, which I think is a tactical mistake. And I don't. But it is what it is. And NYX comes out, and I'm still going to read it.
Of
That'll
course.
be fun. Coming out of DC, also, The Nice House by the Sea, number 1. James Tynion is the horror writer of the modern era, and he brings it back to DC strong with this new DC Black Label horror title. So take a look out.
And we're going to carry that. I tell you what, I think it's going to be some 6/6 stuff.
Well, it's James Tynion, so you kind of expect nothing less. Also, the big one this week, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 1.
Everybody's waiting for that one.
Kicks off this week. Again, Jason Aaron putting out nothing but bangers. And he's taking Jason Aaron might be one of the biggest writers in comics these days. To see a writer like Jason Aaron who dips his toes in all the waters, I think is really
why
fun.
not? I mean, the guy's good at what he does. Let him do it.
Absolutely.
Hey, we got to do some shout-outs here before we get on. Do you want to do your next topic first, or are we good?
You do the shout-outs first, and then we'll jump into our next talking point.
Yeah, we have to do some shout-outs here. We had want to send our thoughts out. We did see the Souser make an appearance coming out. He's recovering well. He's on the mend, and we're happy to see it. Matt, JD, always shout out to you. Caleb, Luke, shout out to you guys. Thanks for supporting us and following us all the time. Sheila, thanks a lot. Tanisha, thank you so much for your support and following us. Both the Bryans out there, and of course, we can't forget the Gostovich family.
Nope.
Thank you for supporting us and watching it. All this going on. Connie, shout out to you. Thanks for supporting us and watching us. Boy, I tell you what, Mark, shout out galore. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for helping us reach 108 subscribers and growing. 109 now. We're 109 now today. We did pick up a new one this morning, so thank you so much. All right, we're done with the shout outs. Let's get back to it.
I think one thing that we kind of need to talk about, San Diego Comic-Con, for those who live under a rock, is coming up this week.
Yep.
Honestly, my personal opinion on San Diego, kind of an overrated show. Now, granted, I've never been there, so I don't have too much of a leg to stand on when it comes to talking about San Diego. But I do feel that there's not a whole lot of noteworthy that comes out of that show outside of like the panels and stuff. You know, I don't know if you can concur
people want
or not,
the exclusives and people want to see the panels.
Yeah, it's really just panels and exclusive, and that's kind of why you go to San Diego. And to that point, Kevin Feige, the MCU will be making a Hall H return this year after 2 years. Their last panel at San Diego was 2 years ago in 2022. And I don't know if you guys have seen like the videos on that and how that played out, but it didn't exactly age too well. All right, Blade. Just a recap. Do a quick recap, real quick. Blade was supposed to be out by now. That was supposed to have come out last year. Next year, July 26th. You know, when Deadpool 3 comes out, that was supposed to be Thunderbolt's release.
Yep.
That's not happening. Next year. There were supposed to be 2 Avengers movies next year. 2025, Kane Dynasty and Secret Wars are supposed to come out next year. Obviously, that's not happening. In fact, it got pushed back probably 4 or 5 years.
Probably,
so,
if it even happens.
Even happens. So that did not age too well, which leaves us with what are they going to do now? And there were a lot of reasons for that, right? You had a lot of internal problems at Disney. You had the writer's strike. You had some people don't remember this now because the writer's strike kind of overshadowed a little bit, but you had a lot of VFX artists go on strike as well. Mm-hmm. There was a ton of stuff that kind of went wrong, and these last 2 years at Marvel have been cataclysmic. Not even to talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, we're not talking about the Disney
has kind of been cataclysmic over at Disney these last couple of years.
Yeah, so they wouldn't want to show their heads anyway the last 2 years.
So the question that I think I need to pose, and I think we should predict and do some thoughts on, is what is Feige going to do this year at San Diego? What does he need to do to save this franchise? Because honestly, Marvel they're losing followers, they're losing popularity, they're losing viewers, and they're losing interest.
Well, they have to do this. They have to fix this.
Emotional damage.
They have to fix all the emotional damage that they have done to the fans.
They do.
Between the Acolyte, all the Disney crap, and the stupid Marvel stuff they've been doing.
I think Deadpool 3 has a serious opportunity
to start
that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, this is feeling like a No Way Home, right? Now, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the extent of No Way Home in terms of like the cameos and stuff. Obviously, I don't know. But, I mean, I don't think there's an X-Men character out there outside of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine that is as popular or nostalgic as either of the Spider-Men. So I don't think there will be a cameo that rivals No Way Home. But I do think that this movie is sort of on that level where it can really start to bring some people back together, you know, in this
bring
franchise.
Some excitement.
Just like X-Men 97 did. The problem with 97 is that it was an animated show not directly canon to the MCU. So it doesn't really do anything for the MCU. It does something for the X-Men.
Yeah.
Because the X-Men, that show was amazing, but it doesn't really do anything for the MCU, you know, as a whole. So I think, really, when Feige takes that stage, he needs to do 2 things. One, he he needs to treat it like a State of the Union. He needs to get up there, and he needs to be like, hey, this is what happened, and this is where we are. Now, I know that when it comes to a lot of big Hollywood, companies and a lot of the Hollywood process, taking accountability isn't exactly at the forefront of their process. But I think in this case, they need to take some accountability. They need to say, hey, we screwed up on these projects. We made mistakes. Obviously, our last panel didn't age too well. In fact, that whole timeline, nothing.
Our timeline sucked.
The timeline was not even close.
We made a timeline.
And now here we are.
Sorry.
We've spent the last 2 years. This is what I hope happens. I hope they come out and they be like, hey, we spent the last 2 years trying to get our shit together. And
we screwed up.
And this is where we are. Because honestly, half of the movies, half of the stuff that they revealed at that last panel that was supposed to be so cool. Look at Ironheart's getting a show. Oh, look at that blade. I don't even know. Thunderbolts. Honestly, I don't even know if that stuff's gonna happen. Thunderbolts obviously has probably made the most headway out of all of them, and is gonna happen. Thunderbolts is a movie that's coming out next year.
Yep.
And Fantastic Four, obviously. But everything else they've talked about is still very much up in the air as to what's happening. So I think they really need to start clarifying, okay, this is happening, this is canceled, this is going on, this isn't. They need to really update people on what's happening with the Kang situation. Is that getting scrapped? Is that getting recast? I don't know.
I think they should scrap it and just.
I honestly don't know, because it's not too late to scrap it, because not a whole lot. I mean, one post-credit scene getting thrown out is not a big deal.
No.
Okay? They kind of left it in a spot in Ant-Man 3 and Loki 2 that, was, yes, underwhelming, but also in a position where they can say, okay, we're just going to completely forget it. And again, they just need to make it one thing or the other. You're either with it or you're not, right? And you just got it. They just got to come out and clarify that.
Yep.
Also, they need to come out and say if they're making a Moon Knight season 2. That was probably the best show.
That was the best show
that they put out. But yeah, I think Kevin Feige, I'm sure he'll release a whole Phase 6 slate, and we'll get this whole, the whole situation going on.
The apology tour starts at San Diego Comic-Con.
I hope so. And they'll talk about Phase 6. They'll talk about the wrap-up. I hope they actually give some information rather than just cheer baiting, right? Just getting everybody to clap. I hope that they actually give some useful information regarding the state of the MCU, and I hope that, I don't know, I'm hoping for the best, but chances are they're just going to try and fix everything with more, look at this new project, guys. Yeah. Look at this next product, guys.
No more cha-cha slide stuff where everybody clap your hands.
Right, I don't know. I just hope there's still a lot of potential in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A lot of people say it's dead. A lot of people say, superhero fatigue has killed the franchise, and I don't think that's true.
No, I think just poor writing.
It's poor storytelling, it's poor writing, and it's poor movies.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's been a lot of, some people have liked what's come out of the MCU, and that's great. But a lot of people like myself have been very underwhelmed this past phase as a whole, right? Obviously, there are some things that weren't that bad, right? Like, I didn't mind Shang-Chi. I liked Moon Knight. Obviously, I liked Loki. There were some bright spots there. But by and large,
Moon Knight and Loki were good.
They're big projects. The projects that are supposed to stand out, like Thor 5 or Thor 4, Love and Thunder, or something like the Marvels, or any of these big projects that were supposed to, or Ant-Man 3, right? Any of these big legacy projects that were supposed to continue on the story from the last saga, the Infinity Saga, were very underwhelming, you know what I mean? And it just wasn't that great. So, nope. Yeah.
No, I think that was all spot on. I think we're ready for a refreshment at San Diego Comic-Con. We're ready to be refreshed and recharged about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So hopefully Kevin does a good job and really brings it home. All right, we're going to play the promo because this Saturday, of course, the Honky Tonk Man will be back. We're going to talk nostalgia, and the Mighty Mafu is going to talk about one of the greatest 80s G.I. Joe toys, the His Tank. We'll be right back.
Bloomington, Minnesota, get ready. This is the Honky Tonk Man. I'll be in the house July the 27th from 10:30 to 2:30. all afternoon long at Most Wanted Comics. That's Most Wanted Comics in Bloomington, Saturday, July the 27th, 10:30 to 2:30. We'll be signing autographs, taking pictures of all the fans. Get out there, get there early. We're going to have a good time. For all the details, go to mostwantedcomics.com. That's mostwantedcomics.com. The Honky Tonk Man, the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, is coming to town.
All right, everybody, we're back with the Mighty Mafu. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. Ready to talk about some G.I. Joe.
We're going to talk about some vintage G.I. Joe today, and today we brought one of our favorite vehicles. It was in our remember we did our top 10s.
Yep.
Our top list, and his tank made both the list. The his tank is on it. Mafu, take it away. Let's talk about the Cobra his tank.
All right. So the his tank came out in 1983 with a black color scheme, so it'll go well with the Cobra Stinger and a night tack. And it was driven by the his tank driver, which wears this nice red tank uniform, which I really like it. You know, the helmet is cool, and it has a cannon, which pivots, and the barrels can. So the intent for this was that it could lock in any position, but unfortunately now with any his tank that you see on eBay,
a lot of times they're loose.
Yeah, and that's because the tabs that hold the his tank up are snapped, because every kid would always pivot these up, and that was the problem.
Let's defend that. I did play. I mean, this crossed over as also a Hoth vehicle for my Star Wars,
right? And
also played G.I. Joe. So this got plenty of action. So that's why this is loose. It doesn't say. This is my personal his tank from the G.I. Joe collection.
Yeah,
and it's been well played with, and it was one of my favorite toys. But that's why
cool.
It doesn't get played with a lot. So that's why the pin doesn't hold that.
Right, but you know that's what the toys were.
That's right. They're meant to be played
with, and the treads, they were not rubber, unlike the Mobat and the Mauler. Nope, so they were very durable because they had plastic wheels underneath them, and it hold 4 figures: the driver, and then a gunner, and then 2 in the back. It's got 2 foot pegs here. And then 1 year later, 1984, the British toy company Palitoy, for their Action Force line, for the enemy, they released the his tank under the name Hyena for the enemies. Instead of the his tank driver, it was Destro who drove the his tank, who was renamed Red Jackal, and he was the driver of then. And then in 1985, also in Palitoy, since the design since the design team closed up shop, 1985 Action Force was just repaints of G.I. Joe. So the his tank was brought back in there in the same color scheme, but with different stickers. And then in the U.S. market in 1985, a Sears exclusive vehicle of the his tank with a new name called the SMS, with Century Missile System. It was a bright red, like the Hyena his tank, and it came with a bright red mobile missile system. So, which, I mean, you could argue which is the Crimson Strike missile system. I mean, if you wanted to make that for the Crimson Guard, which they redid the SMS for the his tank for HasLab, the new classified. So now you can, so if you bought 2, then you could just paint the second one red. But again, the his tank, cool toy. It could go toe to toe with a
lot of different vehicles.
Moped. Yeah. So
this was a banger of a toy. I think this is one of G.I. Joe's best overall toys that people loved. It was just a cool design. It's a cool toy. You can do a lot with it. You can cross the universe with it, and you can do so much with the his tank. Thank you for that education on the his tank, Mighty Mafu.
I would love to on the Hyena.
A question for you.
Yo,
what do you think the next HasLab is going to be for G.I. Joe?
The Rattler, because now we are in the home stretch of San Diego, and the Hasbro G.I. Joe team is going to announce like the prototype for the Rattler.
Oh, that's going to be sweet.
But, it's not like the his tank where, it's a tank, so you could arm it with a different weapons like what they did. With the Rattler, I'm really betting for a tail gunner because the Rattler didn't come with a tail gunner in the vintage line. So I would love to see that because they did bring out 2 teaser posters. And then the second one was a Baroness. So maybe she might be one of the tiers in a pilot gunner
Baroness
jumpsuit.
is a cool character, yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see. I want one of those. When they announce the final prototype and when it's gonna, become available, I would definitely like to own that one, and I would love to own the vintage Action Force Hyena.
You did it right.
Sorry.
You got it. Cool. Well, Mafu, thank you for checking in with our vintage toy moment.
Yeah, I thought it was fun to bring in a nice his tank.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, thank you very much. We'll catch you on our next topic.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be very soon because I'm planning on something.
All right, we'll wait for it, and then we'll get on here and do it. All right, the Mighty Mafu, everybody. Thanks, Matt. Man, the Mighty Mafu with his tanks and G.I. Joe, that kid's got some serious knowledge.
He does have some knowledge.
I love it. I love it. The boy is interested, and he loves it.
Insane.
And he is up there with a lot of amazing. You better not sleep on him. If he has some advice, you better listen to him on that.
Absolutely.
Hey, I tell you what, this is remember Saturday. Thank you everybody for watching. Saturday, we look forward to seeing everybody here for the greatest Intercontinental Champion, the Honky Tonk Man.
Yep.
And if you want to follow us again, follow us. Go to mostwantedcomics.com. Go to our social media. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. Most Wanted Comics, I'm on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe and smash the like button. And we will see everybody next week.
Yep. And next week, let's make sure we watch out. Next week's going to be a big episode. We're going to be recapping the MCU panel at San Diego. We are going to do a recap of that. We are also going to be doing a Deadpool 3 review. Ooh. We will be seeing that, and we will be talking about it next week. So
big things coming up. Have a good week, everybody.